today's episode, I would love to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsors. They've been an associate concierge company. So if you live in the city of Boston and you're looking for a caretaker to, take care of your apartment, receive packages, dinner reservations, book with dinner reservations, bar appointments, cab scheduling, whatever you want, front entrance guidance, they are the people to do the job. And with winter right around the corner, you definitely know you will need someone to, reserve all those cabs and bar appointments for you. You don't want to go outside and wait in line for that, okay? So David and Associate are the right people for the job. Make sure you pay them a visit at davidandassociate.com and tell Galen I sent you, okay? Peace.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the I'm Not Lucky, I Am Blessed podcast. ENDSARS part 6. So we've been doing this for 6 weeks now, talking about what's going on in Nigeria, creating awareness, myself and
Augustina.
And Tenny.
Yeah, letting you guys know what's going on. Your voice is okay?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I think she lost her voice. But yeah, so today's episode, we'll continue from last week. Last week, what happened was we were joined by Jude, and Jude kind of went deep into it was a great conversation, okay, but we didn't fulfill what we actually wanted to do. So we're coming back this week to continue from where we stopped. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How you guys feeling?
Good.
What's good?
Everything is good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be shy too. What about you?
That's nice.
Savage. Oh yeah, but right now everything is dying. With the whole ENDSARS protest, everything is now quiet. Feels like life is going back to normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about it? Do you think we should still continue pushing forward, or we should just lay low?
I mean, one of the things that we've said on this podcast is to have a silent protest.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. The thing is, we're not really looking forward to people going back on the streets and still chanting ENDSARS and all of that. What we're looking for people to do is be active in any other form possible. It is obvious by through the Lekki shooting that going out to the streets might probably not give us enough answers as we want or as we think we should have.
Yeah.
But using other means to really showcase that we ought to be a democratic nation, and on that note, that people should be able to have rights concerning what they want to do or what they want to see in the nation that they live in. So, I mean, if you're a business person or a political person or a student, whatever you are or whoever you are, what we're saying now is we might not be seeing people on the streets, but you could still be doing something, protesting in whatever field that you are, by changing laws or changing the kinds of things that you used to do, and making sure that whatever you do now can add a little bit to make something better for Nigeria.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Tina, what about you? What do you think?
Okay, I just think right now it's the planning season, so we should be making plans towards the forthcoming election and putting things in place. And because the protest, when we came out, or when the people in Nigeria came out, it just shows everybody's tired and everybody needed change in the country. And the protest didn't seem to do much. But then, what is the next thing to do? That's the question we should all ask ourselves. And if that means getting ready for the upcoming election and making sure these same people don't sit in that seat, then we should start planning towards it. So the what next will control our actions, will make us make the right actions towards achieving whatever we said is next, So yeah, If it's getting ready for the election that's forthcoming, getting your voter's card, and like Tenny said, making little changes in your life
Yeah.
to your community, to the people around you, just create more awareness. You could create awareness through showing love, through standing for what's right. And also another thing is, since the police is still in the street brutalizing people, it's when you see your brother or your sister being brutalized or like being criminalized,
Yeah.
and you believe you want to stand with that person, to know like they are doing what they are doing in the right cause, and not wrongfully accusing person again, and not wrongfully taking somebody to the prison. So yeah, we stand together. Even though we're not gonna protest, we're gonna stand together and help one another, show love, do little changes in the community, and prepare towards the forthcoming election. And also at this time is also creating self-awareness, to like read what you need to read, study what you need to study, if it's about the constitution, if it's about government, if it's about security and all those other things, what democracy really stands for and what your rights should be. Yeah, this is a time for you to get all prepared, so when the election comes, you're standing strong, you're not bending to one side or the other. Yeah.
And I just wanted to state that we should not think that things are not happening, because, like, I mean, I think about a few days ago, the UK was probably Nigeria, and they had a petition to urge Nigeria to make its investigation fair and fair. Now, I mean, obviously, Nigeria is not making it free and fair, because they released a video that was supposed to show what CNN had compiled, and the exact place where the soldiers were shooting at civilians. That part of the video wasn't seen. Somehow the camera began to malfunction, and it wasn't seen in
What camera was that? Sorry.
the LCC. I said LCC. Yeah, the firm that is taking LCC.
That is doing the investigation.
No. There was a CCTV camera
The Tollgate.
at the tollgate.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah,
released
yeah.
that video.
Yeah.
But somehow the part where they began to shoot at people, that part of the video was somehow tampered with. So it's not shown in the video that the Nigerian government released.
Yeah.
However, that is shown in the CNN video. And so, like, with all the petitions and everything that have been sent to them to make sure that the investigation is free and fair,
Yeah.
I mean, somehow they're tampering with things. But what we should also put into consideration is the fact that from the onset, from the very day that shooting went on,
Yeah.
there has been all kinds of contradictory notes. So, and somehow little by little more truths are coming out. I mean, at first they said no one died. At first they said they didn't even come to they did not show up at Lekki. At first they said the army did not show up at Lekki. Later on the army did. At first they said they did not shoot at anybody. And like all these things, we should also see all of these things as progress. That more of their truths, they themselves, they're releasing more of the truth, or more of the truth from their own circle. So we shouldn't say that things are not happening. We should also look at all these things as little progress, and with that, we too should begin to put one foot after the other, just to make sure that we're also going along with these little progresses that we're seeing. And again, it might not be one big thing that you do. You might not have like as much influence in the world to make something massive happen. In fact, based on the conversation we had with Jude last week, I understood that we have people like Dangote, we have all those wealthy people that are under the arms of our government, and they cannot really do anything. So it doesn't even matter if you have influence. At this point, it doesn't even matter if you have influence or not. What matters is really your little effort that you're making at the very small corner that you are in. Whether you're a student, you could just write one little one little blog or something and say exactly how you feel. And whether you are a painter, paint something that reflects how you feel. It doesn't even have to be someone else's emotion, just your own emotion. And make sure that just tell the world that what you're feeling at that particular moment is relevant. And it's relevant not just to you, but to the generation that comes after you. And that's the world that every day we try to live in, where every single person is considerate about the future, trying to make sure that whatever move that they make doesn't turn to be destructive to the next generation. That's why we have issues with climate change. People talk about that. We have people talking about our governors, our presidents, our leaders. We talk about all this, but not just because they're hurting us now, but also because of the future. And so we should just not keep looking for like massive big changes, and because we're not seeing those changes, just keep ourselves to one corner and say nobody's listening or nobody's hearing. It doesn't matter if anybody's listening or anybody's hearing at this point. Just release yourself from whatever pain you're feeling concerning the nation at this point. Like, what are you feeling? Use your whatever space you have right now in the world, whether it is your heart or whether it is your pen or whether it is a brush or a book or an office, whatever it is, or a mic. Look at us. We're using a mic right now to say what we're feeling concerning the current situation. Do something. Don't just sit down and say, I don't want to do anything because I don't have influence. The people that have influence cannot stand up even at this point. So let us do something, regardless of how quiet it seems.
Okay, yeah, so let's start officially by saying what happened at Lekki Tollgate, okay? So my plan with this episode is to narrate the story of what happened, and then everybody can add into it. Everybody can condemn what happened, if you think it was good or bad, okay? So there's several stories, but I have my own story, and if anybody wants to add to it, feel free to add. So what happened at Lekki Tollgate? Okay, for those of you this might be the first time you're hearing about this, is so the ENDSARS protest that was going on in Lagos, and the masses decided to go to the Lekki Tollgate because that was one of the major entrances where people were going out and coming into Lagos. So they decided to just come there as one and just sit down, and because this whole thing was a peaceful protest. No one wanted to be violent or anything, so they just decided to come together there at that point and just gather, and there was no leader, so everybody could just come up and speak. So that was what was going on. And that same day there was a curfew in Lagos that the governor of Lagos put, that at so time everybody should go back home and sleep. Now these people just they were already there, so they couldn't go back, and whatever purpose they had, which was to stay till they were being here, they were like, okay, since we can't go home, let us just all sit here and just relax without making noise, okay? So that was the plan. They all sat together, held their hands, and were just singing song, and different people were just coming to. This was not violently done. They weren't even making noise or anything disturbing anyone, okay? They were just in that spot because they couldn't go home. It's like if they go home, like how can a governor come up with a curfew at this point in time when the citizens are actually trying to do something very serious? Like, why would you come up with a curfew at this point in time for us? So they were like, okay, we're just gonna sit here till the following morning, and then we'll go our separate ways. So as they were there, they just kind of like were building this unity and saying, look, we're going to sit, and whatever happens, as long as we hold ourselves, we're not running, they wouldn't shoot at us, we're just going to be calm, peaceful. Like there were videos online where DJ Switch was actually telling these people that, look, if we run, that's when they will shoot us. If we don't run and we sit together, they won't be able to pull us. So let's all do this thing in unity. And in the process, they were all there. Slowly the lights went out. So the Lekki Tollgate, if you guys don't know about it, look it up. It's a huge toll tow center that has lights and cameras. Okay, so in the process, the lights went out. So as the light went out, they started to panic because they knew they had news that the military people were coming. So it's like they started panicking and stuff like that. I mean, everybody would panic, and you could hear the leaders or the people that were with the mic telling them, "Don't run, let's be together. Don't run, let's be calm." And then before you know it, they started singing the national anthem, just with that, just hoping that this would ease the military people that were coming to attack them. You get so after the lights went out, the cameras went out, and then one thing led to another. The military got closer and started shooting. And then the point of them shooting was when DJ Switch was like, okay, you know what? If I'm going to die, at least let me die with the world seeing what's going on. So she brought out her phone and went on Instagram Live and videoed the whole thing. I mean, she wasn't the only one. There are other videos too that are out there. But that was basically what really happened. Okay, so the military came and shot at them. Lives were killed. Like, you could hear people saying, someone died in front of me. Like, I saw someone die, blood all over the floor. And the next day, they cleaned it up and then acted like nothing happened and say it's photo shoot. They say the government didn't do that. Like, they were just, or the military came, like Tenny was saying, the military came and then nothing happened. They just shot empty bullets at them and stuff like that. That was what really happened. So, we want to address this issue. We want to dissect it. We want to, in every means possible, add to it and, just condemn the act, because that was a very, very bad act. So it's the discussion is open for everyone to throw in ideas.
Okay. So what happened at Tollgate? It was that day, during the protest, and then the governor declared curfew. And while the protesters were on ground, they got the news about the curfew, but it was too late for them to go.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they had another news as well that the military are gonna be coming from operations, but not to shoot at anyone. They're just coming to just go around the place and all that. So they got the news, so they were expecting the military anyways, but they weren't expecting them to come shoot at them. So while they were there, before it got dark, the security men at the toll gate came in and they took off the security cameras that were supposed to be there. They were just taking it out, and some other people actually confronted them, like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And they were like, "Oh, it's bad. We're trying to remove the ones that are bad so we can fix it." Like, they were just giving stories and all.
Yeah.
And then another thing again, another security people came and they were turning off lights and all. So they were confronting them, like, "Oh, why are you guys doing these things?" But then they were not really saying what they were doing. They weren't straight to the point.
Yeah.
So, just like that, it started getting dark. And the military, as if the military knew they were going to be there anyways, and they won't move. So they left their office even earlier than when the curfew was supposed to start. I think the curfew was supposed to start at 7 p.m. Yeah, and the military even left before 7 p.m., like 6 something or so. They left their barrack and they were already heading to the place. And just because of these people got a news that the military were going to come for operations, when they saw the military coming, they didn't run. They were just expecting, they were aware that they were coming, so they didn't run. So they were just still together, only for them to be surprised. And also they were expecting the lights to come on, especially when it gets dark,
Yeah.
But the lights never came on. And this is a place where usually there's light everywhere. So the military started shooting at them, and because of the way the military were just shooting, and some started running, some of them still had their hands, hoping that holding their hands the military would not shoot or something like that, and singing the national anthem. But then the military was still shooting. And I remember a particular guy was saying a story, and he says that when the military were coming closer and they were still shooting, people started looking for different places to hide. And they were seeing people getting shot. Some of them dropped dead immediately, while some of them just incurred injuries. and because of that, they could, some of them in their hidings, they could not even stay there anymore because it wasn't safe anymore. So they had to run away from that place too. But some of them were strong enough because they were waiting for their friends they went there with. They didn't want to just run and leave who they came there with behind. So some of them were still hanging around. And the ones that were strong, they came out and they were not like, okay, they want to take the ones that are injured to the hospitals. They said they wanted to take them to the hospital, and I think for that second they also called ambulance to come to the place, but the military blocked the road and said the ambulance should not come, and they chased the ambulance back. And then the people who were injured, some of them were helping them out of the ground, because I think at some point, if you could see from the story, it looks like the military opened fire and then they ceased the fire for a second. Or maybe they were still shooting, but not directly at the people for a second, because then the people could like talk to them and be like, okay, we want to do this, we want to do that, that kind of thing. And a guy said he was helping and carrying somebody, like he carried people that were injured. He and some couple people, they carried them out of the ground, and they actually passed the military, because they told the military when they got to where the military was, they were like, some of them was, and then they told the person that, oh, we need to take these ones to the hospital. And the military said, okay, they can go. And then those people passed. Only for this guy to come back and be like, okay, there are more people that he needs to help. Another guy was like, I'm going to open fire on you right now if you don't go back. And then I think the commander was there, or somebody higher than him was there, and he said, drop your gun. And then he did drop his gun. And then the guy told the boy and said, he has to go. Otherwise they'll kill him. Like, he has to just go. He has to run away for his life. So that was how that guy ran away with the people he could help. So then, from me listening to that story, I got a sense that the military actually came there not to shoot, but there were some bad eggs in their midst. Some bad eggs that were shooting. Maybe some of them did not shoot directly at the people. Maybe some of them did.
Yeah.
But then there were some bad eggs, and it went out of control.
Yeah.
And because it went out of control, that was why they went up with the first story that, oh, we're not there in the first place, because of everything is not out of control. The bad eggs just went in, and they were shooting at the people, and they couldn't control themselves at that moment, and the people were just like running. And the funny thing was that a lot of people ran. Some of them had to jump into the river. Some of them had to like take different routes just to run for their lives. But yeah, a lot of people died that instant those things happened. Another thing was that, why was the military holding ambulance for coming to help the people? So yeah, it's crazy. And the military, I don't know, I felt like at the very least the military should have spoken out and bring out those bad eggs, because yeah, those bad eggs are still there, and I believe those bad ones are still the ones going around the street and still oppressing people, and you can't even talk. Yeah, it's not like it's a you can't really control everybody. Yes, it's a military, and you could put like rules and regulation. There are some bad eggs in the police force, in the military, in the government, but you shielding these people is you trying to be like, is you trying to saying what they are doing is right. So you should not be doing that at any stage, at any place you work. Don't cover a bad person. Actually, you would think the person would think you're doing them bad, but then you're doing them good, because you're just trying to make them get off that place where they are. Some of them, they're just in the head space. Some of them, it's just a thing, anger or like ignorance that is in their head, and they're acting on those ignorant information they've received in the past, or what they believe and others there. And you pouring light in it will help them to get out of there. And you should not cover it, because you covering it is making that person go on with that wrong decision, and it's hurting a lot of people before that person will actually hopefully find a light out of whatever he's doing. But yeah, I just felt like the military at least should just come out and say, okay, we went there, it got out of control, some people shot at the people, and these are the people that already
Being honest.
right, like
Yeah.
these are the people
Yeah.
that shot, and we didn't ask them to shoot, but they went out of control. Yes, it may look like we're not organized, but yeah, these are the people, and we're already putting them in talk show, or like we've sacked them, or we've done something to them, or we've arrested them according to the rules of the military, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then that will even save the government even a lot of stress. It'll be like, okay, we sent the military there not to kill the people, but just to like, even though you just send them there just to threaten the people so the people will go home.
Yeah.
Just say, okay, we sent the military there, but not to kill the people, and then there were some bad eggs and we're working on them. You know, that kind of thing. That will create a little bit of transparency, but then all of them were denying the whole thing.
I mean, they're all the same military, so they can't really.
Right, but then that's the thing. The thing is that they are all the same people. But then when you start covering somebody's wrongdoing, then you are like that person. It's just like closing your eyes to the evil somebody else is doing. You can't watch somebody just kill somebody and then you're just like, okay, let's just close eyes and look like it did not happen. Apparently, you are also a partner to that crime that person committed. That's why you see in this country, when somebody kills somebody, and as long as you are there, you're aware of that thing, you too will have to face punishment for that thing too. That's just how it works. So yeah, I just feel like, and now the question is, where did the military get the order from to come to that place?
Let's hold that question first. That's a very, very good question that I want to even. But tell me what you have to say.
Yeah, so my version is that so before October 20th, the military announced that they were going to that they're going to pursue Operation Crocodile Smile, and that's the 6th version of it. Now, every year they do that just so that they could be able to get means or patterns or strategies on catching bad people, kidnappers, and all of that. They get to they train for it. That's what they do. They set out a period to train for all those things.
Yeah.
And so now, mind you, before this time, the protest was already widespread. Like the ENDSARS protest was already widespread everywhere. It was already outside of the country, and so they now announced in the midst of that they were going to have Operation Crocodile Smile on the same day, on October 20th. Everybody, including myself, we all knew, or me, myself, I knew that it wasn't going to be a peaceful day. I just did not know it would extend to that level.
Yeah, I remember we had that conversation once.
Yeah, so I did not know it was going to get that bad, but we knew because like the army would go out and then they're in the process of training, and so in that process they're heightened with all kinds of emotions and mostly like the urge to kill. I'm not, that's probably a bad language, but they were heightened they were heightened basically. And so now on that very day, I remember telling even my boss that, oh my God, I'm scared for tomorrow. On that very day, the 20th, it was expected that the army was going to do all kinds of things that weren't going to be good. It was expected. It wasn't expected to be that extreme. Anyway, so based on the timeline that the CNN has, the first of the lights went off, and then the camera went off on the toll gate. Mind you, the toll gate is like, it is a massive place with like all kinds of vehicles going back and forth. I think you could like it's just a very big place, and without light, I think you might not be able to assess all kinds of things. Like the place needs to be lighted up.
Yeah, electricity.
So now when people saw that there was no light, they themselves, I'm sure they also had the same fear that we had, that if the military shows up here, it's not going to be a good day. Now, they probably thought it was going to be arresting or maybe punching or that sort of thing. They knew that it was going to be rough, basically. And well, let me back up. Before this time, before the military showed up, they got news that the governor of Lagos State was imposing a curfew for 4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m.
Yeah, and like now he imposed this curfew for 4 p.m. I think they announced this thing at around 10 a.m. in the morning and all of that. And they were like, why would you impose a curfew for... It wasn't even 10 a.m. I think he imposed the curfew, I think, about 3 to 4 hours before 4 p.m. And so celebrities were like, you cannot impose a curfew for today, that sort of thing. And so he then decided to extend the time to 9 p.m. That by that time, people should be off the road. Now, mind you, and personally, I know that people are saying that the people could not leave the street, and so they decided to not go. But I think that many people deliberately decided not to go home because they were in the midst of a protest. And if I was also on that, like if I was there, that's what I would do. I'm in the midst of a protest. You're not going to just say you're sanctioning, you're imposing a curfew, and so we should drop our protest when we're seeking our rights. What makes you think that if I don't have the right to protest, you now have the right to impose a curfew?
Something on me.
Yeah, so like the same, we need to, well, personally, this is just my understanding, like just the same way that governor has some respect and some rights, that's the same way you as a citizen has some respect and some rights. We decide that you hold a bigger power. So if I decide that you don't hold that power anymore, it's now mine. So like I think that they deliberately, or that's just my opinion, they deliberately decided not to go home because they were in the midst of a curfew, of a protest that they needed answers to.
Yeah.
And so the government, or the government trying now to now impose a curfew, was just a way to like cut their protest, cut their protest short and all of that. So they stayed back. Now they heard news that they actually heard news that the military will be coming down to the toll gate, and so many people left. So many people got the time to leave. Some I saw posts of celebrities even asking people to leave, because before that day, I think the police had assaulted so many people on the streets. I think they had even shot some people on the street and all of that. So like, so many people were told to leave, not to stay there. People should, parents, some families were sending messages, please come home, come home. They were sending all kinds of messages to like, so many people were tweeting it everywhere, tagging people, leave or go to this place or leave this place or something like that the military was coming. Now the ones that stayed, those were the ones that were ready. They were done with whatsoever that the government, and some people didn't know, maybe they didn't get the message, but there were some people that knew, but they still stayed, and they were done. They were literally done with whatever government that was standing already, and they wanted a different kind of Nigeria, and so they stayed. And when they saw the light go off, they did not panic because they were done. When they heard that cameras were off, they did not panic because they were done. And then they heard the military coming, and then now there was some panicking, obviously, but like there were still people that were willing to stand in that place and then sing the national anthem, regardless of the bullets that were flying, regardless of the chanting and shouting and the yelling and everything. They still sang completely with all courage and everything, completely sang the national anthem, trying to. I know that many people will still say that, they were trying to tell the officers or make the officers have a lessen their hearts or become human. But one thing that I'll just stand by is, regardless, whatever their thoughts were, that national anthem in itself just made them to realize that they were Nigerians. And as a Nigerian, you're not going to succumb to surrender to what you don't want, that sort of thing. And so they continued to sing, and then there were bullets going, military, they were shooting and all of that and all kinds of things. I mean, I really cannot say or analyze why things escalated the way they did. But one thing we also need to put into consideration is the fact that there was an imposed Operation Crocodile Smile on that particular day. Whether that was intentional, whether that was deliberate, whether the government decided that was the day they wanted to kill people so that they will use their crocodile smile as a phase or whatever, I'm not sure. But like, that also is something that I just wanted to point out, that they had that training going on that very day, heightening officers and army soldiers, and sending these heightened soldiers to a place where civilians were gathered seeking for their rights. That's exactly what happened on that day. They just made the whole thing to seem as though we're being that's not even democratic, we're being national at this point. But basically they were using one force to kill off another force. And so that's just my own version of the story.
Okay, so you see, every version is different, and Tenny made it a little clearer too, that the people had the choice to go home, and they refused to go. And honestly, at that point, I would refuse to go because we're probably expecting to be arrested.
Yeah.
Literally, see, the eye of the government should have done was to arrest
Yeah.
everybody. It's like they can't arrest all of us at once.
Yeah.
They can't put all of us in the same jail. Like, how much space do they have that they can arrest it? And that's the power of unity. When people say, you know what, we will stand together as one. And if you can take all of us, can the ground swallow us? Like, because I remember they were asking questions like, these were like true Nigerian citizens. Like, this is not even an act of disobedience. This is an act of heroism. These people fighting for their country. The government, honestly, Nigeria has to. I feel like Nigeria has to do like two things. Governors, the Nigeria itself, which is the people, and then the government. You get right. The government is we are fighting for Nigeria. The governments are fighting for their political pockets. Like, they are fighting for their pockets and stuff like that. And in a situation like that, the fact that those people were singing the national anthem, those were true Nigerians. I feel these lives that were lost shouldn't even just die. You know, the same way the military, they die and then they shoot gun for them and then they give them a very rewarding burial. I feel this is how these people need to be compensated for what they did, because they actually did what every Nigerian should do in a time like that.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not an act of disobedience, it's an act of being a Nigerian and fighting for your country. It's the same way you represent Nigeria in a different country where they're trying to kill you and you sing your national anthem and then you die for Nigeria. That's what those people did out there. But it's just sad that the government, instead of arresting or flogging or using water to, like, you know, decided to kill these innocent people. And so moving on, Tina was asking a question that who gave the... Sorry, what was the question again?
The question was, like, who gave the order for them to go to that particular spot?
Honestly, there's always this guy at the top, and I feel like the whole thing was planned out. They knew what they were going to do. That's why those guys came out and took out the lights, came out and took out the cameras, or else they knew phones were gonna be there. Like, it was it's like they were even more planned than us. We literally didn't have a plan. We just went outside to protest. But these people had a plan that, okay, yes, they will come and protest, but now it's in this in this area that we'll kill them or we'll shoot them, you understand, to teach them a lesson. It was like a way of, you know how Nigerians we are now. Okay, you guys stubborn head, right? We'll teach you a lesson. We'll kill some, and then so that's why they brought those people to, like, cover their footprints. I mean, it's not like we can identify who did it. I mean, who ordered them, but we know definitely it's from the top. And when we're talking about the top, it could be even the president, because the president is the number one man in the military. You get right? So there's no order that it wouldn't come from him. There's nobody else that could make order that he won't approve of or he won't be aware of. Like, you get right in a situation like that.
So personally, for me, that question is a valid question, and I think that I don't care if it was just Buhari that ordered it.
Yeah.
Every single person in this administration is responsible.
Yeah.
I don't care if you were just the office cleaner and then you had no clue.
True.
You are responsible for every single thing that went past you. If you're under this office, if you're under this administration, if you hold an office under this administration,
Yeah.
they are all responsible. They all gave that order. Because before that particular day, there were different other orders that were sent, that some people sent, some people saw, some people knew, but never said anything or never did anything or never even stood against it in any other way.
Yeah.
And you stood there and you were like, oh, they find money now, or oh, this is where I work, where best in chop now, there, whatever language that you used. If you sat down there and you ignored whatever signs that you were seeing that this is a bad government, you ignored it and you sat there, you ate with them, you are responsible for every single person that got a bullet that day. I don't care how good, whether you're the pastor's first child,
Yeah.
you're responsible.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I think even communication department too is responsible for that.
Yeah.
Because these people communicated something. You get
The
right.
media.
The media, like it could not even be media. It could be the telecommunication company, like the Glows and the MTNs, because you guys track if they need call from civilian. That, okay, who made this call, right? It will be easy to be like, you know, they will just quickly bring out. Now we want to know, because this will definitely communicate in some way through their cell phones too. You get right?
Yeah.
So like you even seeing something like that, something that, because y'all know everything that goes on in Nigeria, that with things we say on the phone, text we send, y'all monitor every single thing. So you can't tell me that interactions like that, conversations like that went back and forth, and then y'all just because we are not involved, let's just keep our hand crossed, man. Like everybody that is in power in Nigeria needs to be
and personally for me, that Lekki Tollgate shooting, the fact that we had very few people come out to show, and not very few people, but like we had some, just still the same sort of people coming out to show their anger or anything. That just makes me see how like poor we are in the mind. Like it is so saddening, because like as a mother, I don't care. There was this politician or whoever she is that was saying that Nigerian youths are thugs, and she was calling them all kinds of names, and some women politicians, some mothers, some fathers were still coming out in that particular point. You're coming out still to say that Nigerian youths are thugs, many of them are drug addicts, saying all kinds of nonsense and saying they're thieves, and that, so you're trying to say basically that they actually deserved the kind of treatment they got. And that just made me realize how poor mentally many people, or not just poor mentally, emotionally as well, emotionally, socially, that many of our fathers and mothers are, and people from previous generation, just because they sat down and did not fight for their children, now they believe that the children of this generation should not fight. And so if they are fighting, they're just showing how much of drug addicts they might be, or they could be, or they should be, or whatever their intention is. It's just sad, because like, Lord, I cannot even imagine that some mothers would come out and still say, you see so many young people on the floor. When I saw that video, the first thing I actually saw was our flag, the Nigerian flag, covered in blood.
Yeah.
Like that in itself, that was a symbol that just, I couldn't even help it. I just broke down. I couldn't even do anything.
Yeah.
Like, if only we could understand the seriousness of a group, even if it was one person, if only we can understand just one person's blood on the one thing that represents us globally, the flag. If we go out, wherever you go to, the one thing you stand by is green, white, green. That is your flag. There's no need reciting your national anthem. The minute you have green, white, green, and you're sitting amongst other people that are carrying their flags, you are automatically a Nigerian. That's the one thing that we stand by. That's the one thing that we are represented by outside. And that was covered by not just one person's blood, not just a foreigner's blood, but the blood of the people in that land. And not even just the people, the most people that covered the land. Man, do we even really understand that almost over 60%, like, I don't know if people are not getting this, over 60% of Nigeria's population are people that are below 35. Like, I don't know, over 60%. Like, I don't know, that, like, literally just that statistics alone, that in itself alone should just make everybody to like get so pissed that you really cannot sit down and just say you cannot do anything. Anybody, whoever, even if you were working with a bad group of people, that Lekki Tollgate shooting in itself should have just overturned your mind. Like, you should have just switched, because like that's let's just assume that only one person died in that thing. That in itself alone just makes you realize that we should not let this happen. You did not fight for your own generation. These people are fighting. Why would you even sit down and say that they are drug addicts? Why would you now be quiet? Dangote, you have children. Yes, your children schooled wherever they schooled, or you have people that no longer stay in Nigeria. But at the end of the day, wherever they go to, they are going to stand by green, white, green. For real. Wherever they go to, regardless, wherever they go to, they are going to submit a green passport. It's you cannot hide it. Even if you have 50 other, you're now citizens of other countries. Where your blood is coming from is from that same Nigeria. That's where you were groomed from. That's where you were born. That's where wherever you were born. So I even don't care. But you're carrying a blood from Nigeria. So this shooting should be very personal to you. Very personal. Very, very personal. I don't know. It's just very sad.
Yeah. See there. What up? You're quiet. I had something to say. Oh. But there's a video that we never, like, I was on YouTube and I was actually watching videos from witnesses. So the Lekki shooter was one, but do you guys know there was another shooter too? Like the Lekki shooter was one. Then there was a river. Even before, like there's this shanty people, like they close. There's a river close to the Lekki Tollgate.
Yeah.
So after the shootout, a lot of people dived into the water to swim for their life. You wouldn't believe that the military still went to the river to complete the job.
Wow.
Jesus, like when you hear the people, like the natives of the town that is there, the shanty people, they were like, we were trying to help people out of the water. The military still came and shot them. Look, it was a clean job that and they shot, picked the bodies, put them in their car and went to throw them away. Like you could hear people saying that, like this guy said he was coming from work and then he saw people like literally struggling to swim, so he went into the water to help them, and then they came, killed them, stabbed him. They thought he was dead, put him in the van with other dead bodies inside, and we're driving. Like these videos are not even videos that CNN show. These videos are videos that you have to go and look for on, like, people testifying again what happened. And this, you think these people were paid to do it, but no, they weren't paid. They are all sharing the same story, that even after the shootout, the governor of this came the next morning, saw dead bodies. Literally, they had to, they saw him immediately after the shootout. His car came. These were witnesses, like people that live in the place, that they saw him. He came with his convoy, saw the dead body. Like the guy even went and showed us the blood of someone they shot. He was like, I witnessed when the governor came in, they took the body away, they tried to clean, but they couldn't do a clean job. And then later on, he came back and said that there were no loss. Yeah, there were no casualties. Yeah, that was what was even pissing the people off. That the fact that he saw dead bodies, he came the next morning. What's his name? Stolu or something. Sanwo-Olu. Like, I can remember the guy saying, his name, that he came the next morning, saw the dead bodies, they cleaned it up, and then came back and reported back to the people that there were no losses, there were no casualty and stuff like that. Like, the video was a very, very terrible video. Yeah, no, like the lives that were lost, just the ones we saw on Lekki Tollgate was one, but after that they still went and cleaned up their job. This was not an ordinary thing, and it's just sad that no one is holding these people accountable for their actions. Yeah. But yeah, is that you?
No.
No one else. Tina, what about you?
I mean, the truth be told, the government actually have a full video of what went down on that day. And also, another question is, so why was the police or the military going after people who went for the protest after the whole killing in Lekki Phase 1? Because after that, they were still going after people who went out for the protest. There are a lot of people who were arrested who we don't even know. A lot of people who have died in the custody due to torture, and also the accounts of people who were supporting the protest was frozen. Even CBN was even supporting the government and joining hands with them to actually freeze people's accounts. And funny thing is that if you think that CBN could come out and do that, how come CBN is not? Since CBN is so aware of people moving money from their accounts, since I'm sure those people don't even have accounts in CBN but in other banks, right?
Yeah.
So if CBN is so aware of those people's account, how come CBN is not aware of the same police people transferring money from people's accounts into their own account, like unnecessary, like the money moving too much, like you suspect something? How come CBN is not aware of the people sponsoring Boko Haram in that same country and money is moving? How come CBN has never openly come out and said something about people's account being suspicious or anything? But at the end of the day, I'm happy everything happened, because it just makes us really realize who people really are and what they stand for. At the end of the day, it just shows like I wouldn't say everybody, I don't want to generalize it. Most people in Nigeria that have money, most of the media, most of the banks, most of the telecommunication services, everything that underdog of the government. and that's why they cannot really do anything. And that's why they actually supported the whole thing, and that's why every one of them is actually covering the truth.
Yeah, what else?
Yeah.
What else? We know that disinformation can be brought out.
We know, like, okay, just imagine all those things. It's okay now. There's a judicial system set up for the whole killing of not just the killing, but the whole police brutality thing going on in Nigeria. It's taking them forever for them to actually decide and come up with cases and actually sentence the police people or even find these police people and all this thing. Whereas when the whole looting of palliative went out, that's the next day, even that same week, everything came out because they went house to house to get all their things back. In fact, they even knew the people who did it.
Can you imagine?
They went all after them. But then when it comes to citizens being brutalized, all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, we don't know the policemen who did it. Oh, we don't know, they're not in this division. Oh, we don't know what division they came from. We don't know this, we don't know that.
Makes a lot of sense.
And and they're just like covering a lot of things. And I don't know, they must think we're full because they're doing it right in front of our face. Or maybe they're thinking like, oh, well, yes, we do it, you can't do nothing about it. Something like that. Yeah, it's really sad, but there will be a change soon, and the same people will be gone.
So this just makes me realize that it has now turned. I think now things are becoming clearer, and I'm now sensing that the entire Nigeria has now turned into, like, not the entire Nigeria, the government is now a business, and it seems as though it's a monopoly. Like, they buy every single thing, including the rights of people. They sell nothing to the people, actually. But then they not even buy, they deal with people's lives. And it's no longer a country with citizens. It's more a business transaction with poor clients.
Poor clients, yeah.
And like people that don't even realize that they're trying to do a transaction.
Yeah.
And that's sad, because if we're going to work by this idea of patriotism, I mean, our national anthem calls for us to be patriots. If we're going to work by that, then we shouldn't be working based on a transaction. We shouldn't be living based on a transaction. I know that many times when people talk about Nigeria, they say when you're asking what Nigeria has done for you, you ask what you have done for Nigeria. And they say that often. People say, oh, don't talk about what Nigeria has done for you, talk about what you would do for the Nigeria. Country. Yeah. But the truth remains that before, I did not choose. I did not choose to be a Nigerian. I just happened to be. And so for me to now happen to be the same way we do not choose our parents. Our parents still give us valid reasons to, like, still hold them to be like parents.
Yep.
Like it's there are so many people that really cannot stand their parents today because their parents didn't give them valid reasons to be parents, and so now they cannot do anything good for their parents.
Makes sense.
And that's the same thing that works with even our nation. I didn't choose to be a Nigerian, and so if it happened that I turned out to be a Nigerian, the country has to earn the right. Like, you have to earn it. You have to show that you didn't choose me, but then I am a valid person that you need to care for, you need to cater for. I'm not saying that Nigeria, trust me, Nigeria has been good to me in so many ways, but like, we need to figure out a way that the country sustains its goodness to me. We cannot just keep saying that, you have been good to me when I was 7, and then I can't keep working based on that 7-year-old good to me story. We need to grow past that level. And continue. And there's so many people that I cannot even tell any good thing that has happened to them in Nigeria, and that's the same kind of pain that they are going through. True. So basically, it just dawned on me that we're really living in a transactional country, and it's not a democratic country.
Ooh, I like that. That's a very powerful. The whole concept you said there, like, they're basically just doing business with us.
Yeah.
And trying to get the most out of it, and it's not like doing business the ethical way,
Yeah.
It's just unethical.
The other person does not even know they're doing business.
They're doing business with us. Like, they're not even serving us right now. They are literally robbing us, or just using us.
Yeah.
They're using us. That's what it is right now. And it's funny that so this Lekki shootout and all that. Can you believe that it's the Nigerian government that is investigating the Nigerian government? Like, how can the Nigerian government be investigating the Nigerian government? Like, how can they assign who would investigate them? You get right? Like, this should be something that should be done externally. An external body, okay, we're going to you guys should not control anything, and that's why things don't work in Nigeria, because everything that comes in, they want to inspect it, they want to control. Okay, we have to control what you guys use and what you guys don't use.
That's why it's a monopoly.
And that's why it's crazy. Yeah, or else would have been seen a lot of like Tina said, the communication, like CBN knows who was sending money to this, like, oh wow, y'all can do all that. Then now that we need answers to question it, it's like no one can bring it. But whenever they need answers, they just go around and twist people's arm. You get right? They twist their arms and get the information they need. So yeah, it's a very crazy country. It's not even a country. It's not even a country. For me, before I used to think Nigeria failed me. Like, I used to be mad at the country, but I realized that Nigeria is a very, very great country. It's a beautiful country, the most strongest country in the whole wide world. It's just that our country has just been ruled. It's our leaders that have failed us, It's not a country. The country has gone through a lot that if it was a country, it would have been dead by now, but it just... Yeah. So, yeah. Does anybody have anything to add? No? Okay, so... yeah, lives were lost at Lekki Tollgate. I wish I knew the names of those people. Would have called each and every one of them to pay them respect for being such a wonderful citizen. You get right? Patriots, heroes, because they died for something that in the future we will enjoy. Even if right now, these names were not. Even if right now it seems like they just died, but I believe that someday. All these names will be mentioned somewhere. These names should be written somewhere. These names should be, there should be like a portrait or a wall that just writes the names of every single one of these souls that died there, because they didn't just die for, I don't know, man. In the hands of the wrong people, good thing turns bad. These people died for a good cause, but it's not looking like they were terrorists, disobedient, and just didn't want to. Yeah. Okay, so guys, that's the end of today's episode. I'm guessing. I hope we talked a lot on this matter. Looking forward to the next episode. But before we leave, do you guys have any advice for Nigerians out there? Anything? No? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this an advice, because even me, I would. Okay, let me say it's an advice, but I'm taking the same advice I'm issuing out. The thing is, Nigeria is hard, and the leaders are making it even harder.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't even know what to eat. A lot of people wake up every day trying to smile with hopes in their heart, going out to maybe get a daily bread or looking for a way to get a daily bread. A lot of people trying not to settle for less. A lot of people believing in God, praying. A lot of people, they don't even go to church, but in their heart they believe in God, but they don't go to church because of a lot of things going on in Nigeria too. And a lot of people who, they don't even know what to believe, but they have hope in that. It's just for everybody to know that it will get better because you're thinking it. Your mind is powerful, and just because you're thinking it, it will get better for you, it will get better for the country. And don't give up. And I know with the iris of suicide going on in the world right now, that should be the last thing that anybody should think of. If you don't know a reason why you should still be alive, being able to sleep and wake up is a reason why. Your family is a reason why.
True.
because a lot of people, they want to be alive, but yeah, they're sick in the hospital. They only have a few hours to live. Some people, they're not even sick. They just slept and didn't wake up the next day. Some of them, it's just different reasons. So if you just need a reason to be thankful, being able to sleep and wake up, it's a reason to be thankful to God for. And Nigeria will get better, but you have to stay strong for your family, and also try not to be bought. Don't let anybody buy what you believe in. Stand by what you believe. It may just be like they're offering you a little money for just what you believe or what you saw today, but that thing goes a long way, because it's gonna lead you to that path eventually. Because if you settle for one, they believe you settle for another one. And secondly, your heart will tell you you've already started it. You just keep going. It's hard for people that have received one thing or another from people just to conceal the truth, to actually go back and want to stand by the truth. And a lot of people don't think money is everything in life. A lot of people have money, but they are not happy. A lot of people have money, but they're regretful of the be the reason why you're happy. Yes, they could contribute sometimes, but it should be an inside thing. Trust in God, trust in yourself, trust in Nigeria. Life will be better.
Amen.
Man, that was a whew. I have goosebumps all over me. That was a very emotional one, Tina.
What is wrong with this one?
Put it on TED Talk. But yeah, so we've come to the end of today's episode. Like Tina said, trust in God, trust in Nigeria, trust in yourself. So with that said, have a great day, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode. Looking forward to next week. And also, make sure you pay our sponsors, Devin and Associate, a visit at devinandassociateconcierge.com. Peace.